Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
大家好，I'm Nicole. Welcome to Cantonese Class 101.com.
Matt here. Welcome back to our Absolute Beginner Series, Season 1, Lesson Number 6. In this lesson, you will learn how to be graceful in victory, over beer, that is.
The conversation takes place in a bar.
And it's between our waitress and her customer. He gets his beer, and life is good.
And we're speaking casual Cantonese as usual.
Okay, Nicole, let's take a listen to the dialogue.
你好，
你好，
你嘅啤酒，
唔該，
唔使客氣。
One more time, a bit slower.
你好，
你好，
你嘅啤酒，
唔該，
唔使客氣。
And now, with the English translation.
你好，
Hello.
你好，
Hello.
你嘅啤酒，
Here's your beer.
唔該，
Thanks.
唔使客氣。
You're welcome. Okay, I'm glad he finally got his beer. I was worried there for a minute.
Yep, it took long enough though.
Maybe it's because he didn't call her Lang Noi.
I told you, call a girl 靚女 and she will love it.
Hey, who wouldn't love it?
Exactly. Like, 靚女，啤酒唔該。
Hey, pretty girl, can I have a beer, please?
Mm.
Yeah, he definitely should have said that.
Yeah, he would have had his beer in 1 minute tops.
Anyway, our lesson today is about the possessive.
Well, it's more interesting than it sounds. I promise. We promise.
Okay, let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson.
And now, the vocab section.
Our first word is,
嘅
which is a possessive particle.
嘅
And next we have
你嘅
your or yours.
你嘅
Followed by
唔使客氣
you're welcome.
唔使客氣唔使客氣
Next we have
唔該
please, thank you, or excuse me.
唔該唔該
Next we have
唔該晒
thank you very much.
唔該晒唔該晒
Next we have
啤酒
beer.
啤酒啤酒
All right, Nicole, let's talk a little bit about pronouns now,
佢
which can mean he, she, or it.
佢
Next we have
我哋
we.
我哋
Next we have a plural form,
你哋
you in the plural sense.
你哋
Last we have
佢哋
they.
佢哋佢哋
All right, great. Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases from this lesson.
Sure. The first phrase is嘅
Good. Now, this is a possessive particle.
嘅
So, in the dialogue, we had heard,
你嘅
which means your.
你嘅
If we break that down, the first sound is,
你
which is you,
嘅
followed by the possessive word. Before we talk about this possessive word, however, let's review some of the pronouns that we just learned.
Sure. 我
I,
佢
he, she, or it, a third-person pronoun.
Yep, that's a new word. 佢
He, she, or it. Now, what if we make that plural, Nicole?
That's really easy. We have a plural suffix, which is they. So we put the suffix they to the end.
Okay, now for this section on plural suffixes, Nicole will say the Cantonese form, and I will translate it. So let's start with that, Nicole.
Okay, the first word, 我哋.
We,
Again, 我哋.
we,
佢哋.
they,
佢哋.
they.
你哋.
You, but in the plural sense.
Right, 你哋.
You, like you guys.
Right.
Now, for this, we've got a little trick for you. When you see two characters like that, it means that it's plural, more than one. So more than one is plural, or two characters
Yeah,
also means it's plural.
Yep, that's a good trick. Two sounds plural, one sound singular.
All right, Nicole, let's go back and review what we just learned.
Okay, 6 pronouns. I'll say the Cantonese and you say the English.
All right.
我
I,
你
you,
佢
it, he, or she.
Mm-hmm. Now the plural forms. 我哋
We,
你哋
you,
佢哋
they.
That's right.
It's grammar time.
Okay, so in the dialogue, we heard Lang Noi brings the guy a 杯酒 and says,
你嘅啤酒
your beer.
Right. 你嘅啤酒
This is your beer.
Mm-hmm. 你嘅
Your,
你嘅
your
啤酒
beer.
你嘅啤酒
This is your beer.
Right.
So to express possession in Cantonese, we say the person who has something and then add,
嘅 This 嘅 is a particle we use to show ownership.
like your,
你嘅
my,
我嘅
his,
佢嘅
hers,
佢嘅
its,
佢嘅
ours,
我哋嘅
yours,
你哋嘅
theirs.
佢哋嘅
All right, so pretty easy so far.
Mhm.
Then we add our object after that,
Right. Like, 我嘅水
my water,
佢哋嘅朋友
their friends.
Mm-hmm. That's right. The word order is always the owner plus ge and the owned. So it's pretty easy to express these ownership or possession.
Okay, Nicole. Now, when speaking about family members, we're going to drop the ge for possession. So let's give our listeners some examples of that.
Mhm.
How would we say, my mother?
So instead of saying 我嘅媽媽, we say 我媽媽,
And what about for his father?
佢爸爸.
Okay, now this one's a little tricky. What about my girlfriend? Do we still drop the ge?
I think so. 我女朋友, we drop the ge in there because boyfriend and girlfriend are quite close.
Okay. Well, that just about does it for today. We've learned 6 pronouns and how to show possession.
That's right.
Now, some of our listeners may have some ideas or suggestions for the content of upcoming classes. Remember that you can leave us a comment on this lesson or any ideas you may have.
Yeah, so if you have a question or some feedback, please leave us a comment.
It's very easy to do as well. Just stop by CantoneseClass101.com,
Click on comments,
enter your comment and your name,
and that's it.
so you have no excuses. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Matt. Bye.
Bye.
你好，
你好，
你嘅啤酒，
唔該。
唔使客氣。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Matt here, and welcome back to Absolute Beginner Season 1, Lesson Number 7.
大家好，我係 Nicole。
In this lesson, you're going to learn about how to invite someone to dinner.
This conversation take place anywhere.
And it's between 2 friends.
So they're speaking casual Cantonese as usual.
Okay, let's take a listen to the dialogue.
我肚餓，
我都係。
一齊食嘢。
好啊，
One more time, a bit slower.
我肚餓，
我都係。
一齊食嘢。
好啊，
And now, with the English translation.
我肚餓，
I'm hungry.
我都係。
Yeah, me too.
一齊食嘢。
Let's go eat.
好。
Okay. All right, just listening to this dialogue makes me a little hungry.
Me too. I can queue for a salad.
A salad? Come on, you're kidding me.
Maybe some noodles or 蝦餃.
Shrimp dumplings? That's it? No wonder you're so thin.
This is just the way we eat in Hong Kong. Aren't you used to it yet?
That's why I always double up on the noodles. I never get enough to eat.
Anyway,
So our lesson today is all about getting yourself fed when you, like us, get hungry.
that's right.
So let's move on to the all-important vocabulary for today. Nicole, why don't you start us off?
And now, the vocab section.
肚餓，
Hungry,
肚餓，肚餓，口渴，
thirsty,
口渴，口渴，攰，
tired,
攰，攰，
Next we have
都
also,
都
followed by
係
to be,
係
Next we have
一齊
together,
一齊一齊食
to eat,
食飲
to drink,
飲嘢
thing or things.
嘢嘢好
All right.
好好
Okay, now the first word that we are going to look at is the word for hungry.
Yep. 肚餓
Hungry.
肚餓
Hungry, or literally, stomach hungry.
That's right. Sometimes I get 好肚餓
Oh, that's a new level of hungry. That means really hungry.
Exactly. 我好肚餓
I know you're hungry, Nicole. I'm hungry too.
Mm-hmm. 我都好肚餓 I'm hungry too.
And that reminds me, Nicole, this is an adjective, right?
That's right. So remember, when in Cantonese, when you want to say you are hungry, you have to say you are very hungry. That's the way it sounds natural. Otherwise, if you just say I am hungry, 我肚餓, that would sound a bit weird.
So, to say I'm very hungry, or just to say I'm hungry, you need to say,
我好肚餓. Not that you're really hungry, you're just hungry, but that's the way Cantonese say it.
okay. So, what about if we're thirsty?
That would be, first we have to learn thirsty. That's 好渴.
So, when we say this to be natural Cantonese, it has to be.
好渴. Very thirsty, but you're just thirsty. We know that.
So, one more time for thirsty,
好渴 or 好渴.
which literally means mouth thirsty.
Right. And 好渴 is also an adjective.
So, this is some really useful Cantonese.
That's right. And here is another really useful adjective. 攰.
That means tired.
Right. 攰.
Tired.
你攰唔攰?
Are you tired?
Or you can say 你攰唔攰啊? With the to say that you can speak Cantonese.
Oh, okay. So, adding a little bit of flavor on the end.
That's right.
So, are you tired?
唔攰.
I'm not tired.
Yep. 唔攰. Not tired.
Now, remember the structure. With the adjective, you add
好.
in front to mean very.
But you don't really mean very. You just say it to be natural.
And remember this structure with the adjective. You have to add
好.
in front.
And we've got two very, very important verbs today as well.
That's right. The first one of those is
食.
to eat.
食.
To eat.
If you're hungry, you can tell a friend, 一齊食嘢.
Let's eat.
一齊食嘢.
Let's eat. Now, in this, we've got together in there, but literally translated, it just means let's eat, because the
That's right.
the let's implies that both of us are going to get something to eat, or all of us are getting something to eat.
That's right.
So in let's eat, I notice that there's a sound after the verb to eat.
嘢.
This sound means things.
Yeah, that's a generic word for things. We put it after a verb to make it general, like 食嘢
Which can mean grab something to eat.
or 飲嘢.
Have something to drink.
That's right. Or maybe 一齊飲嘢.
Let's have something to drink, or let's drink.
That's right. 一齊飲嘢.
Let's drink. Let's practice with some harder sentences, Nicole.
Sure. If you're hungry, you can say 我好肚餓，一齊食嘢.
I'm very hungry. Let's eat.
我好肚餓，一齊食嘢.
I'm very hungry. Let's eat.
And how about 佢好口渴，一齊飲嘢?
This means he's very thirsty. Let's drink.
That's right. 佢好口渴，一齊飲嘢.
He's very thirsty. Let's get something to drink.
So you see, we've learned some very, very useful vocabulary in here.
Okay, Nicole, now let's do a quick review. Today we're focusing on 3 adjectives. Hungry,
肚餓,
thirsty,
口渴,
and tired.
攰.
And usually they go in that order. You're hungry, then you're thirsty, then you're tired. Let's hear them one more time.
肚餓,
Hungry,
口渴,
thirsty,
攰.
tired. We also have 2 verbs,
食 and 飲.
to eat and to drink.
That's right. I use these words every day.
And we're also going to use them in our grammar section today. Let's get to that now.
Sure.
It's grammar time.
Our grammar focus today is on basic sentence structure.
You make it sound so boring.
Okay. Our grammar focus today is on basic sentence structure.
That's much better.
Actually, this is pretty easy, right?
Right. In lesson 2, we taught you how to make sentences with adjectives like 口渴 and 肚餓.
First, we say our subject,
我
and then the word very.
好
Then we add in our adjective.
肚餓
I am hungry.
我好肚餓
He is thirsty.
佢好口渴
That's right. In our vocab sentence, we had 2 new verbs, though,
Right. 食 and 飲
for eat and drink. Now, how do we make sentences with these verbs?
Now just put them after our subject. That's it.
So, I eat is,
我食
and I drink would be.
我飲
The sentence structure here is really pretty simple. First, we have our subject,
我
then the verb.
食 or 飲
Now, if you want to add an object, you just tack it on to the end of the subject-verb structure,
That's right. A general one would be 嘢
which means things or something. You can add it after the verb.
Right, like 我食嘢
I'm getting something to eat.
我飲嘢
I'm getting something to drink.
Mhm.
And if there are any adjectives, you can stick them in front of the verb.
That's right. In our dialogue we heard 一齊食嘢
Right. Yetzai is an adverb, and we stick it before our verb.
Like 一齊食嘢
To eat together.
一齊飲嘢
To drink together.
That's right. And don't forget to make all these suggestions, just say it with a rising tone or add to the end.
That's right. So let's hear some examples of those tones. First, let's try let's eat.
一齊食嘢 or 一齊食嘢啊
Okay, what about let's drink?
一齊飲嘢 or 一齊飲嘢啊
All right, listeners, make sure you pay attention to that final tone.
Right, it's a rising tone.
So to review, today we learned 3 new adjectives.
肚餓
Hungry,
口渴
thirsty,
and 攰
tired. We also learned the verbs for, to eat,
食
and to drink.
飲
We reviewed how to make basic sentences with adjectives.
like 我好攰
We also learned how to make sentences with verbs.
like 佢食嘢 he eats.
And then we learned how to make suggestions.
一齊食嘢啊
All right,
Hey Matt, and now we're done. 一齊食嘢
good idea. Let's go eat.
But before we go, let's tell our listeners how they can test themselves.
That's a great idea. Our listeners can make this lesson's vocabulary stick by using lesson-specific flashcards located in our Learning Center.
There is a reason everyone uses flashcards.
That's right, it's because they work.
They really do help memorization.
You can get the flashcards for this lesson at...
CantoneseClass101.com.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again for the next lesson.
See you.
我肚餓，
我都係。
一齊食嘢。
好啊。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Welcome to Cantonese Class 101. I'm David.
大家好，我係 Nicole.
And I'm not Matt.
Obviously
That's
not.
right. I'm filling in for Matt this week. But we still have lesson 8 for you.
That's right. It's about getting the bill.
Right. So we've got a dialogue here that is between a waiter and a customer.
Yes, and it takes place in a restaurant.
And as you can guess, someone is asking for the bill.
Yeah.
So we've got the dialogue. We're going to take you to that right away.
Okay.
小姐，
有咩可以幫到你？
埋單，唔該。
好，
One more time, a bit slower.
小姐，
有咩可以幫到你？
埋單，唔該。
好，
And now with the English translation.
小姐，
Miss,
有咩可以幫到你？
is there anything I can help you with?
埋單，唔該，
Bill, please.
好。
Okay. So our dialogues are getting a bit longer.
Just a bit, but they're still pretty easy.
Yeah. And there's one sentence in here, I'm sure you guys heard it, which is a real tongue twister.
有咩可以幫到你？
Yeah, everything else is short, and then we hit you with that. That's the one.
有咩可以幫到你？ That's easy.
Yeah, well, it's going to be easy when we're done with today's lesson.
Definitely, you guys are getting better and better.
Okay, so let's get to the vocab section. We've got a lot of new words we're going to teach you today.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay,
You end up using this all the time.
okay, let's go.
And now, the vocab section.
咩
What?
咩咩可以
Can.
可以可以幫
To help.
幫幫有咩
Is there anything?
有咩有咩睇
To watch.
睇睇做
To do.
做做埋單
To get the bill.
埋單埋單
Okay. The first word we want to focus on is
咩
this means what?
咩
What?
That's right. We hear this in the structure 有咩
Right, that's a simple question.
有咩
Is there any?
Right, like 有咩問題
Is there a problem?
or 有咩情況
Is there a situation? That's a
right.
bit weird. That's kind of like is there a problem as well. Let's hear those two again. Is there a problem?
有咩問題
And then is there a situation?
Right. 有咩情況
When do we use that last one? It's is there anything going on?
Exactly.
Right?
It's very formal though.
Okay. So most of the time we want to use the first one instead.
有咩問題
Is there a problem? So Nicole, what's the structure here?
You first say 有咩 and then you add a noun after that.
Right. So as in, is there a problem?
有咩問題
Right. But we can also add a verb.
That's right. Like 有咩食
Can we hear that again?
有咩食
Is there anything to eat?
or 有咩飲
Is there anything to drink?
Exactly. 有咩飲
Okay. In our dialogue, we heard this used in a really long sentence.
Not that long. 有咩可以幫到你
Okay. Don't get scared. We're going to look at this in more detail in the grammar section. Right now, what we need to pay attention to is this is a question.
Right, because it's got the 有咩 structure, so it's obviously a question.
Right. Can we hear it again?
Sure. 有咩可以幫到你
Okay. Is there anything I can help you with? Now, as we said, we're going to look at that more closely in the grammar section. Before we do, we've got two more really common words to focus on.
That's right. The first one is 買單
which means, can I have the bill?
Yeah, or to get the bill.
嗯
買單
Check, please.
Yeah, sometimes you say 小姐買單
If it's a waitress, because then you're
Of
saying,
course.
Miss, can I
Yeah.
have the check, please?
Or if it's a guy, a mister, 先生買單
Right, that's hello, sir, the check. Let's hear those two again. If it's a woman, we say,
小姐買單
and if it's a guy, we say,
先生買單
and if it's a man, we say,
先生買單
and Nicole, you've got a trick here for getting better service,
That's right. Remember, you want to call the girls 靚女
which means pretty girl.
Exactly. 靚女
So let's hear that. Pretty girl, can I have the check?
靚女埋單
One more time.
靚女埋單
And what if it's a guy?
You call them 靚仔
Handsome guy.
Yeah. 靚仔
So, hey, pretty boy, can I please have the check?
靚仔埋單唔該
So this is really complimentary. And you added please
Exactly.
at the end there. So they're going to run and get you the check ASAP.
Definitely, you get the bill faster.
Right. And you might even get a telephone number too.
Right.
Okay. With that, though, let's move on to the grammar section.
Okay.
It's grammar time.
Our grammar point today is all about asking questions.
That's right. We've learned 有咩
Right. Earlier in this podcast, we taught you to put nouns or verbs after this.
like 有咩問題
Is there a problem?
or 有咩情況
Which is also, is there a problem? But it's
That's
more
right.
formal. And it's
Yeah.
more like, is there a situation? Is
Exactly.
something happening here?
You're panicking.
Right. So this is our first way of asking questions.
That's right. You ask 有咩
And then you add a noun.
like 有咩問題有咩情況
Great. Our second kind of question is asking, can I or can you?
That's right. We hear this in the dialogue 你可唔可以幫我
Can you help me?
你可唔可以幫我
Can you help me? Now, listen carefully to this part.
可唔可以
Let's hear that again slowly.
可唔可以
So this is the question bit. It's the part that makes this a question. Let's take a closer look.
That's right. 可以 means can.
Right. And we've heard
唔
before. That means no or not.
That's right. It's the negation word.
Right. So,
可唔可以
really means can or cannot.
That's right. 可唔可以
Can, not, can. It's how we're asking a question. So, we can use this alone. We can say,
我可唔可以
that's can I do something?
That's very easy. You just add the subject before 可唔可以
Right. Let's hear that again. I can, not can.
我可唔可以
How about you? Can you?
你可唔可以
Can we?
我哋可唔可以
So, Nicole, you were giving that to us pretty slowly. Let's do those three again at more natural speeds.
I like that
Okay.
idea.
So, how about this? Can I?
我可唔可以
Can you?
你可唔可以
Can we?
我哋可唔可以
And if it's clear from the context what you're talking about, this is all you need to say.
Exactly.
Right. However, if you need to be clearer, you can put your verb at the end.
That's right. For example, 我哋可唔可以食嘢
Can we eat?
That's right. 我哋可唔可以食嘢
Or if you've already eaten, you might want to ask someone out for drinks.
That's right. 我哋可唔可以飲嘢
Can we drink?
Yeah. 飲嘢 means to drink something.
Or if you are at a restaurant, you can ask for the bill.
That's right. It's like the only thing you can do in a restaurant. 我哋可唔可以埋單?
Right. Can we get the bill?
可以.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If you're eating with someone and you want them to get the bill,
Then you can say 佢哋可唔可以埋單?
can you get the bill? I don't have any money.
你可唔可以埋單? 我冇 money.
Yeah. So you've asked the question, what answer is someone going to give you?
Huh. Probably if you say 靚女, then she'll say 可以.
Right. So we're just using the verb. We're echoing that back.
That's right. 可以.
So you're asking can, not can, and they're answering can.
可以.
Of course. So this is a really polite way to ask a favor of someone.
That's right. If you add in 唔該, it will be even more politer.
Right. So if you meet someone that you like, you can ask them to have a drink with you.
That's right. Remember we learned 一齊飲嘢 in our last lesson.
Right. That's let's have a drink together.
That's right. Now you can ask a girl, 我哋可唔可以一齊飲嘢? That means, shall we have a drink together?
Right. And then the answer is going to be
唔可以.
no.
Or 可以if you call her 靚女 or call him 靚仔. Remember,
Okay.
this is the trick
So
word.
this is very, very important in Cantonese.
Yeah.
Anyway, in review, we now know two ways to ask a question. The first is to use
有咩?
and then put a noun after it.
Like 有咩問題?
Is there a problem? Or
有咩情況?
is there a problem?
Yeah.
Tricky. And of course, we can also put a verb there.
有咩食?
The second way we have of asking a question is to use this phrase,
可唔可以?
can or cannot.
Right, like 我哋可唔可以埋單?
Can we get the bill?
Or your favorite sentence, 你可唔可以埋單?
Can you get the bill? So that's our lesson for today.
That's right.
So that's our lesson for today.
But before we go, we want to remind our listeners there's a very powerful tool in our website.
Right. If you come to CantoneseClass101.com, take a look at the Premium Learning Center. You're going to see tons of stuff. You're going to see quizzes, vocabulary sections, grammar points, all of this really, really great stuff that's going to teach you the basics of Cantonese.
Yeah, you'll find them very useful.
Yeah, they are really fantastic, and they're going to help you ramp up to fluency very, very quickly. And with that said, if you have any questions about how to use the premium materials, just send us an email. You can get us at contactus@CantoneseClass101.com.
Or even easier, just leave us a comment in CantoneseClass101.com.
Right. Leave us a comment on the site. We would love to hear from you. With that, though, that's all the time we have today. I'm David.
I'm Nicole.
Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
小姐，
有咩可以幫到你？
埋單，唔該。
好。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Welcome to Cantonese Class 101. I'm David.
Again.
Yes, I'm here again. Matt is off this week, but we promise he will be back next week.
We promise.
Right.
大家好, I'm Nicole.
Right. Joined by Nicole, and we've got Absolute Beginner Season 1, Lesson 9 here.
That's right. In this lesson, you learn how to say this and that.
Right. Like last week, the dialogue here takes place in a restaurant.
That's right. And it's between two friends.
Right. It's between two friends here who are ordering dinner.
Mhm.
And because they're friends, of course, they're speaking casually. But, I mean, this is the way everyone speaks in Cantonese.
That's right.
So we've got the dialogue. Let's go take a listen now.
Okay.
呢個係咩？
呢個係深井燒鵝，
好好食喎。
我都好鍾意食。
One more time, a bit slower.
呢個係咩？
呢個係深井燒鵝，
好好食喎。
我都好鍾意食。
And now with the English translation.
呢個係咩？
What is this?
呢個係深井燒鵝，
This is samjang roast goose.
好好食喎，
It's really delicious.
我都好鍾意食。
I like it a lot too. So whenever I'm in Hong Kong, this is basically how I order.
What?
I point at the menu and I go, I want this one and I want that one.
The point and order method.
Yeah, well, Cantonese food tastes really good, but honestly, you guys have strange names for a lot of foods,
No, we don't.
right? You don't want to order the phoenix feet.
Oh, you mean...
I learned that one the hard way.
Oh, the chicken feet. I like that.
Yes, you guys like a lot of imaginative foods, but they didn't say it was chicken feet on the menu.
Well,
It was,
yeah.
they were playing it up. Phoenix. Anyway, lesson learned, Cantonese menus lie, so sometimes it's best to just look at the photos and point.
Hey.
And that's actually what we're teaching this class. So it's the point and order lesson.
Right, this and that.
Right. So we've got the vocab for you. Let's go right to it.
Okay.
And now, the vocab section.
Ni,
This,
ni, ni, ni個,
this one,
ni個, ni個,個,
that,
個,個,個,
that one,
個,個, 燒鵝
roast goose,
燒鵝 燒鵝 好食
delicious,
好食好食鍾意
to like,
鍾意鍾意出名
famous,
出名出名
Okay, the first word we want to focus on in detail is this one.
呢
This.
呢
That's this.
Yeah, literally 呢
Right. Sometimes you're going to hear this as well,
呢個
which has an extra sound on the end.
Right 呢個
And that means more this one.
Yes, the ending sound 個 is a measure word.
Okay. What are the tones on that?
呢 is the first tone. It's high flat tone, the highest. Ni and go is mid flat.
Okay.
Go, ni go,
Great. So you want to point at something and say,
ni go,
or just,
ni,
which one do you think is more natural, Nicole?
ni go.
Okay. So go with that one. We've got some sample sentences for you. Sentences like this.
我要呢個
I want this one.
我要呢個
I want this one.
Or you can say 俾呢個我
Give me this one.
But pay attention to the word order in here.
Right. And let's slow that down too.
俾呢個我
Give this one me.
That's right. 俾呢個我
And in all of these sentences, we can always swap out this one and we can put in that one.
嗰個
Right.
嗰個
What are the tones there?
嗰 is the second tone. It's a high rising tone, like asking a question.
Hmm.
嗰and go As we mentioned, it's a mid-flat tone.
Okay, so this is pretty tricky to come out with.
Go, with practice.
Okay.
You'll be fine.
Okay, so this is a bit tricky, but you guys have the hang of it by now. We've also got sentences like, I want. So the sentences we did before, we can change. We can say, I want that one.
我要嗰個
Or, give me that one.
俾嗰個我
Right. Now, Nicole, what are we going to do if we want to say these or those?
That's very easy. Just replace the measure word 個 with 啲.
Which is first tone.
That's right, the high flat tone. 啲, it sounds exactly like the English letter D.
Okay, so let's hear these,
呢啲
those.
嗰啲
So, I want these.
我要呢啲
I want those.
我要嗰啲
Give me these.
俾呢啲我
Give me those.
俾嗰啲我
Perfect. Nicole, what if we want to ask questions? What are these?
No problem. 呢啲係咩
One more time.
呢啲係咩 is literally these are what.
So, what about those are what?
嗰啲係咩嗰啲係咩
Perfect. We've got another really useful word in this lesson as well.
鍾意
This means to like.
That's right. 鍾意
So you can say, I like this one.
我鍾意呢個
One more time. I like this one.
我鍾意呢個
How about I like these?
我鍾意呢啲
Or I like that one.
我鍾意嗰個
I like those.
我鍾意嗰啲
So this is really useful stuff.
呢個 and 嗰個 very useful.
In fact, it's so useful we are going to be using them in the grammar section today.
It's grammar time.
Our grammar section today is all about drumroll. It's not a
That's a weak
okay,
one.
it's a weak drum roll. But
Cantonese people don't do drum rolls.
okay. Anyway, our grammar section today is about a new way to ask and answer questions.
It's asking questions part 2.
Yes. If you remember, in our last lesson, we learned
有咩
we taught you this means what or is there any.
That's right. 有咩 you can add a noun or a verb after that.
Right. As in the sentence,
有咩問題
is there a problem?
有咩問題
And literally, that's to have
有
what
咩
problem.
問題有咩問題
In this lesson, we see a new way of asking questions.
係咩
Right.
係咩
So basically, these two are pretty close, but the first sound there has changed.
That's right. We've gone from 有
To have,
to 係
to be.
That's right. We've gone from 有
To have,
to 係
to be. Let's hear both of those again. To have what?
有咩
To be what?
係咩
So this is another kind of question.
That's right. We hear this a lot. 呢個係咩
What is this?
呢個係咩
What is this?
or 嗰個係咩
What is that?
嗰個係咩
What is that?
That's right.
And how would we make those plural? Let's do that too.
Very simple. 呢啲係咩
What are these?
嗰啲係咩
What are those? So this is a really useful thing to know how to say.
Definitely.
So you can point to something and you can say,
呢個係咩
and people will tell you what it's called in Cantonese.
And you can learn more Cantonese this way.
Right. This is a really natural way. Use this to pick up new vocabulary, especially nouns.
Mm-hmm.
Very powerful. So you can point this in the menu and you can say, what is this? And they're going to tell you it's chicken feet. You probably don't want to eat that.
No. They will tell you this is phoenix feet.
Mhm.
鳳爪. And the full sentence sounds like this. 呢個係鳳爪. They say it with pride.
Yeah, this is phoenix feet. It's delicious. And don't believe them.
It is delicious. 好好食.
Anyway, moving on. Let's take a look at this sentence from the dialogue.
呢個係深井燒鵝.
So this is the sentence where they're asking about the goose,
Yeah.
the roast goose.
深井燒鵝. It comes from a place named 深井, and they produce the best 燒鵝in the world.
Yeah, Nicole insisted that we include this word in the lesson, even though it's long.
Yeah.
She said, people go to Hong Kong, they need to know how to order this. So,
深井燒鵝.
right. So send the hate mail to Nicole at CantoneseClass101.com. Anyway, what we want to pay attention to is the word order here. Let's listen to that sentence again.
呢個係深井燒鵝.
And that is literally, this is...
深井燒鵝.
Right. Now, that's a complex sentence. Let's get rid of the noun and listen just to that first section.
呢個
This,
係
to be, or is.
呢個係
Now, in the dialogue, we had the noun right after that. If we ask a question, what do?
replace the noun with 咩.
Which means what?
That's right. So it sounds like this. 呢個係咩?
What is this?
Or 嗰個係咩?
What is that?
That's right.
So the word order here is the same as the statement, and it's the opposite of what you'd expect in English. And it's the opposite of what you get in English.
Right.
In English, we say, what is this?
But in Cantonese, you say 呢個係咩?
This is what?
Remember this.
Right. So that's our ground point for today. It's a new kind of question. Now you know it though, you can ask, what is this?
呢個係咩?
What is that?
嗰個係咩?
And you're going to get the names of the things all around you.
Right. That's the way you pick up more Cantonese vocab.
Right. Now, before we go, we want to remind you we've got a review track as part of the premium resources on the site.
That's right. It's available in the premium section of the CantoneseClass101.com. Just stop by and make full use of it.
Yeah. One of the things you want to use this for is you want to use it to actually practice speaking.
That's right.
Because it's really focused on, you're going to hear a phrase in Cantonese, you're going to have the opportunity to say it.
And you can compare your voice to the native speakers.
Yeah, you can do that, but I mean, also it gets you to generate the phrases. So it's a lot more active than listening to a podcast.
Right.
Make sure you're working that into your study routine. It's really going to help you make faster progress.
Mm-hmm.
With that, though, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave us a note on the website or you can send us an email. Contact us at CantoneseClass101.com.
That's right.
Right.
So see you next time.
We'll see you next time. And remember, send the hate mail on Cantonese cuisine to Nicole.
I'll reply you with the words of chicken feet.
Anyway, that's our lesson for today. Thanks a lot for listening.
唔該，拜拜。
We'll see you next time.
呢個係咩？
呢個係深井燒鵝，
好好食喎。
我都好鍾意食。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Absolute Beginner Season 1, Lesson number 10. I'm Matt.
大家好，I'm Nicole.
In this lesson, we're going to learn how to make suggestions.
And this conversation takes place on the street.
It's between two friends.
So they're speaking casual Cantonese as always.
Okay, let's take a listen to today's dialogue.
我哋點去啊？
搭巴士
不如搭地鐵。
都得。
One more time, a bit slower.
我哋點去啊？
搭巴士，
不如搭地鐵。
都得。
And now, with the English translation.
我哋點去
How do we get there?
搭巴士？
Let's take the bus.
不如搭地鐵？
How about taking the subway?
都得。
Both are okay. All right, now, this conversation I've used quite a bit.
Well, you use all of our lessons quite a bit.
That's true, but that's only because they're helpful.
And they're simple.
In this lesson, we have vocabulary for taking various forms of transportation.
That you're going to hear and use all the time.
And you can start using them right away.
Right, let's get right to our vocab.
Okay, what's the first word, Nicole?
And now, the vocab section.
搭
Which means to take.
搭搭的士
Taxi.
的士的士車
Car.
車車巴士
Bus.
巴士巴士地鐵
Subway.
地鐵地鐵飛機
Airplane.
飛機飛機不如
How about?
不如不如下次
Next time.
下次下次都得
They're both okay.
都得都得
All right, Nicole, let's take a closer look at the usage of some of our vocabulary words and phrases from this lesson.
Sure, the first word is 搭
To take, but only when it applies to transportation.
right 搭
To take.
When you say 搭 remember that it ends with a glottal P so the ending sounds just like the English word tap. You see 搭
All right, can we hear it one more time for the listeners?
搭
Now, this is a general verb for all forms of transportation.
Yes, you can 搭 taxi, 搭 car, 搭 ship, 搭 boat, 搭 airplane, 搭 all kinds of transportations.
So we can also 搭 bus
That's right, that's in our dialogue too. 搭巴士
to take the bus.
搭巴士
And in Cantonese, it sounds just like the English word for bus.
Yep, 巴士
There's another word that also sounds familiar to its English name.
的士
That's right, taxi.
的士
Taxi. Now, how about subway? Does subway sound similar?
地鐵 What do you think?
Well, not really. So literally, this means underground steel.
地鐵
Subway. So when we say we're going to take a type of transport, we can say the verb
搭
and then the type of transport.
Right, like 搭巴士
To take the bus.
搭的士
To take the taxi.
We have another way of saying this. 打的
Now this one's shorter, and I like short.
打的
To take the taxi.
Or we can say 搭地鐵
To take the subway.
都得
That means that'll also work.
都得
Or it can mean they both will work.
Yep, 都得 can mean both things because 都 means also and both, and 得 means to work. So 都得 can mean they'll also work or they both work.
So because the transportation system in Hong Kong is so developed, pretty much any mode of transportation will work.
That's right. Anyway, 都得 or 點都得。
Deem, is this the same deem that's used in dim sum?
Yep, the same 點都得 whatever works. 點都得
Great, now let's move on to our grammar section.
It's grammar time.
All right, now let's move on to our grammar section. We'll talk about how to make suggestions.
Okay, now the word for suggestion is 不如
It means, how about,
不如不如
how about. It literally means, not as.
Right, 不如
So we're actually saying that your idea is not as good as the one I'm going to propose.
Yeah, but it's less rude than it sounds. 不如 it's actually really common and laid back.
That's right. So in the dialogue, we heard,
不如搭地鐵
which means, how about we take the subway?
不如搭地鐵
He's suggesting that they take the subway. So whenever you want to suggest anything, just put your suggestion after the word but you.
Right, 不如搭飛機
How about we take the airplane?
不如搭的士
How about we take the taxi?
不如打的
I remember that. That's the other way of saying taking the cab.
Yeah, 打的 Now, Matt, let's do a quick review of some really useful words that we've learned in previous lessons, okay?
Good idea. This will really help the users commit the words to long-term memory.
Okay. 不如呢個
How about this one?
不如嗰個
This one means, how about that one?
不如食嘢
How about eating?
不如一齊食嘢
How about eating together?
不如我哋一齊食嘢
Wow, it's starting to get longer here. How about let's eat together?
Not bad. So you can see the suggestions following 不如. It can be a verb, a noun, or a sentence, anything.
All right, that's pretty easy. So our listeners can just stick in whatever comes to their mind. What about shrimp dumplings, Nicole?
不如蝦餃
And of course, the response to that suggestion would be,
好啊
and that's a yes, great, or sounds good,
Right, 好啊 Or you can say 都得
which means that'll also work, or both okay.
Yeah, and you can always add a to the end. It sounds like 都得啊
That's right. Now, what if somebody doesn't agree with your suggestion? Are you thinking about it, or is that the response? That's right. That's the universal response when you don't agree with somebody's suggestion. You just pretend that you're thinking about it and make the sound.
Yeah, or after a long period of pondering, you can say 下次啊
Which means maybe next time.
下次啊
Maybe next time. That's a polite way to say no.
Right, 下次啊
All right, to sum up, in this lesson, we learned ways to say how to take different forms of transportation.
Right, like 搭巴士 to take the bus.
We've also learned how to make suggestions.
不如鳳爪 How about chicken feet?
And we've also learned, more importantly, how to say no to chicken feet.
下次啊
Next time.
Right.
And that's our lesson for today. Do we have anything else, Nicole?
Yes. Before we go, we are going to tell our listeners how to test themselves.
That's right. To make today's vocabulary stick, our listeners can use the lesson-specific flashcards located in the Learning Center.
There's a reason everyone uses flashcards.
That's right. It's because they work.
They really do help memorization.
You can get the flashcards for this lesson at
CantoneseClass101.com.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
See you.
我哋點去啊？
搭巴士
不如搭地鐵。
都得。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Absolute Beginner Season 1, Lesson number 11. I'm Matt.
大家好，I'm Nicole.
In this lesson, we are talking about how to get a free lunch, or what to say if you leave your wallet at home.
And this conversation takes place in the street.
It's going to be between two friends, or at least two people that know each other.
Right. If you say this to a stranger,
You're probably not going to be eating lunch with him.
and they're speaking casual Cantonese as always.
All right, so let's take a listen to the dialogue.
弊，
咩事？
我冇晒 cash。
唔使驚，我大把。
One more time, a bit slower.
弊，
咩事？
我冇晒 cash。
唔使驚，我大把。
And now, with the English translation.
弊
Shoot!
咩事？
What's wrong?
我冇晒 cash，
I ran out of cash.
唔使驚，我大把。
Don't worry, I've got plenty. Hey, Nicole, I bet you the girl in this dialogue left her wallet at home on purpose.
You mean
Yeah, I left my wallet at home. That's the oldest line in the book.
you think she's trying to cheat her friend?
Trying, she is. But hey, who doesn't want a free lunch in this economy?
I think you think too much.
I wonder if she'll be able to trick her friend into paying for dinner as well.
Well, I think she just forgot it.
Well, we'll see. I guess we can't really judge, since our vocab for this lesson is all about teaching you how to get a free lunch.
How great is that?
And now, the vocab section.
All right, let's take a look at our vocabulary for today.
弊
Shoot,
弊弊咩事？
what's wrong?
咩事？咩事？冇晒，
To run out of.
冇晒，冇晒，唔使，
No need to.
唔使，唔使，驚，
To be scared of, or to be afraid of.
驚，驚，擔心，
To worry.
擔心，擔心，唔使驚，
Don't worry.
唔使驚，唔使驚，大把，
To have plenty of.
大把，大把。
All right, great. Let's take a closer look at how to use some of our vocabulary words.
Okay. You know what my favorite word in this lesson is?
What's that, Nicole?
弊
That means shoot or dang. I hear you saying that all the time, especially while writing scripts.
弊
Shoot.
You hear this a lot. 弊啦
Oh no.
弊啦 Remember to add the extra la sound to the end. 弊啦
So how strong is this? Is it rude when we say it like this?
Nah, it's not that rude at all.
Okay. Well, the next phrase that we have for you is going to be,
咩事
what's the matter?
咩事
What's the matter?
咩事啊你點啊
What's the matter? Are you okay?
咩事啊你點啊
What's the matter? You all right?
Yep. See how I added the R to the end of these phrases? It
Very
sounds
nice. Very
yeah,
Cantonese.
That's right. 咩事啊你點啊
Now, what's our next word?
Our next word is cash.
Now, this should be pretty easy for all our listeners. This is an English word that you'll hear a lot.
Yeah, everybody uses it. And the Cantonese way of saying money is 錢
Money.
錢
Money.
So if you lose your wallet, you might say, 弊,我冇錢.
Shoot, I have no money. Now, Nicole, you don't even really have to have lost your wallet to be able to say this.
That's not true. You said that a lot.
That's because I really have no money in my wallet.
That's a great sentence anyway. Remember the verb 冇 from our earlier lessons?
Of course I do. It means not to have.
That's right. 冇.
So what about I don't have money?
我冇錢.
Very familiar with that one.
In the dialogue we heard the verb 冇晒.
That means to run out of.
冇晒.
To run out of.
冇晒. And this 晒 should be familiar because it's from another phrase, 唔該晒 is the same 晒. So 冇晒 is to run out of.
So how can we use this?
We can say 我冇晒 cash or 我冇晒錢.
I ran out of money. What else can we run out of besides money?
佢冇晒面.
He ran out of face.
That's right. 佢冇晒面.
Okay, now this is a little bit funny, but face really represents respect. So if you're a little embarrassed, right?
Yeah, he's really embarrassed and he feels ashamed. 佢冇晒面. Mean, face, is very important in the Cantonese philosophy. We take this very seriously.
That's right. So we should always keep enough money on hand so that we can avoid this kind of shame.
Right. And this lets us say 我好有面.
I have a lot of face.
我好有面.
And if you do have money, you can always say, don't worry, I have money.
唔使驚,我有錢. Or you can say 唔使驚,我好有錢.
The second one means, don't worry, I have enough money.
Or it actually means, don't worry, I am rich. Because in Cantonese, 有錢 or to have money means rich. So 唔使驚,我好有錢. I'm rich.
Don't worry, I'm rich. And that's the next vocabulary word that we wanted to mention.
唔使驚.
Don't worry,
Like in the sentence, 唔使驚,我好好.
which means, don't worry, I'm very good.
唔使驚,冇問題.
Don't worry, there's no problem.
唔使驚,冇問題. You hear this a lot. And you also hear people say, 唔使擔心.
Which also means, don't worry, or don't be concerned.
Yeah, it's more serious. You say to your parents, 唔使擔心, don't worry about me. 唔使擔心,唔使擔心.
And that's another point we want to bring up is that you'll usually hear people say this twice in a row.
That's right. 唔使擔心,唔使擔心, or 唔使驚,唔使驚.
It's grammar time.
Perfect. Let's move on to our grammar section now, Nicole.
Okay.
Our grammar point today is a basic review lesson.
And we're going to review the basic ways we have of making sentence.
Our first sentence uses adjectives.
Like 好,
Good,
肚餓,
hungry,
口渴,
thirsty,
or 攰.
tired. To make sentences with adjectives, we start with the noun,
Like 我,
which means me,
or 你,
you. Then we say
好.
our adjective,
Right, like 我好口渴,
which means I am thirsty.
佢好肚餓,
He is hungry.
我好攰啊.
I am tired.
Perfect. And remember to put these in the negative, replace 好 with 唔. So the sentence 我好肚餓
I am hungry.
will be 我唔肚餓.
I'm not hungry.
Except that's not true. We are hungry now. Another example would be 佢唔口渴.
Remember, this is negating, so it's she's not thirsty.
Right. Or 我唔攰.
I'm not tired. And if you have kids, you probably hear this a lot.
So those are the adjectives we learn, and verbs are different.
That's right. We just put the verbs right after our subject.
For instance, 我有錢,
I have money.
我好有錢.
I am rich.
Yep. 我要呢個
I want this.
or 我鍾意你
I like you.
How sweet.
You tricked me. Now, don't forget, to put verbs in the negative, we either use
Or we can replace 有 with 冇
like in these sentences.
我唔要嗰個
I don't want that.
我冇晒錢
I don't have any money left.
Too bad. Anyway, today we had a pretty long lesson.
That's true, but we finished it with a review of things that we've learned before. So hopefully you didn't feel too overwhelmed or lost.
If you're having trouble, though, make sure to download the PDFs.
That's right. These are located in the Premium Learning Center.
And you can find them on CantoneseClass101.com.
Thanks for tuning in.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Matt. See you next time.
See you.
弊，
咩事？
我冇晒 cash。
唔使驚，我大把。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
大家好，我係 Nicole。
Matt here. Welcome back to CantoneseClass101.com. Absolute Beginner Season 1, Lesson number 12. In this lesson, you'll learn about making plans
Right, this conversation takes place over the phone.
and is between two friends.
So they're speaking casual Cantonese as always.
All right, let's take a listen to the dialogue.
你幾時得閒啊？
下個禮拜啊，
禮拜六？
禮拜日。
One more time, a bit slower.
你幾時得閒啊？
下個禮拜，
禮拜六？
禮拜日。
And now, with the English translation.
你幾時得閒？
When will you have time?
下個禮拜，
Next week.
禮拜六，
Saturday?
禮拜日。
Sunday. So this is another useful phrase that we need to know if we want to ask a girl out.
你幾時得閒？
Yeah, exactly. When will you have time?
你幾時得閒？ I bet you use that a lot.
I remember last time I said this to a girl, though.
你幾時得閒？
Yeah, that's right. And she responded to me last week.
上個禮拜。
Anyway, we'll cover that phrase as well in our vocabulary section.
Right. We also got lots of vocab about weekday.
Let's take a look now at the vocabulary for this lesson.
And now, the vocab section.
幾時？
When?
幾時？幾時？得閒？
To have time, or to be available.
得閒？得閒？下個？
Next, or next one.
下個？下個？上個？
Last, or last one.
上個？上個？禮拜？
Week.
禮拜？禮拜？星期？
Also means week.
星期？星期？禮拜六？
Saturday.
禮拜六？禮拜六？禮拜日？
Sunday.
禮拜日？禮拜日？一
1,
一、一、二、
2,
二、二、三、
3,
三、三、四、
4,
四、四、五、
5,
五、五、六、
6,
六、六。
All right, let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases that we used in this lesson.
Okay, the first one is 禮拜.
Week,
Right, in the dialogue we heard 下個禮拜,
next week,
下個禮拜,
next week,
or you can say 呢個禮拜.
this week.
Right, remember we learned 呢個 in earlier lessons.
Right, and that means this or this one.
Right, 呢個. Now we simply stick 呢個 before 禮拜. It becomes 呢個禮拜.
Or this week.
Or your favorite answer, 上個禮拜.
Last week. Not really my favorite answer.
上個禮拜.
I notice when you say next week, you're not saying next week, but you're actually saying down week. When you say last week, you're saying up week. What's going on with that?
Yeah. Well, we have an imaginary standing calendar with the beginning of time on top and future at the bottom. So when we say in the past, we use 上, which means up. So when we say the future, we use 下, which means down.
Sounds kind of like you're making things up again, Nicole.
Well, it makes perfect sense to me.
Okay, but there's another less frequently used word for week as well. What's that, Nicole?
星期.
Week.
星期.
Week.
You can say 上個星期
Which means last week.
or 呢個星期
This week.
or 下個星期.
Next week.
Right. Or if you want to specify a day, you can say 下個星期六.
Next Saturday, or literally, next week 6.
Yep. 下個星期六.
We understand the first half, but what's the second half here, Nicole? How do you say Saturday?
星期六.
Saturday, or literally, week 6.
Yep. That's the way Cantonese express weekdays. First, you say the word 星期, or you can say 禮拜.
Week.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's numbers 1 through 6. You scared our listeners a little bit there.
Oh, sorry. Now I'll say them slowly, one by one.
And I'll say the English, and I want you listeners to make sure that you're repeating after Nicole. I'll make sure to leave a pause in there.
Okay. 1,
1,
1,
1,
2,
2,
2,
2,
3,
3,
3,
3,
4,
4,
4,
4,
5,
5,
5,
5,
6,
6,
6,
6.
1.
Hey, that's not the word for 7.
No, it's not. It's a bonus word. It means Sunday. 1.
So that literally means day when you translate it.
Right. 1.
So Monday will be week 1.
禮拜一,
Tuesday will be week 2.
禮拜二,
Wednesday will be week 3.
禮拜三、
Thursday will be week 4.
禮拜四、
Friday will be week 5.
禮拜五、
And Saturday will be week 6.
禮拜六、
And then Sunday is the one that's going to be different because it's not using a number, but our bonus word will be.
日. And together it's 禮拜日, which means Sunday.
So the structure here is really simple. You say the word for week,
禮拜 or 星期.
then the number or day for Sunday.
Yep, 日. When you say Sunday, it's 禮拜日. There's no week 7, only 禮拜日.
All right, that's a lot for our listeners to remember. Now let's get to the grammar section.
It's grammar time.
The focus of this lesson is asking when. In the dialogue we heard,
你幾時得閒?
when will you have time?
你幾時得閒?
When will you have time? If we break it down, the first sound here is,
你
which means you, and then we'll have
幾時?
when, literally, how much time.
Right. 幾時? 幾時?
Although it's literally how much time, it's not asking how long or about the actual clock time. It's more of a general when.
Right. 幾時?
And it's always followed by
得閒.
to be free or to have time,
Right. You can say 好得閒.
which means to have plenty of time.
Right. Remember the 好, we learned that before. It means very. So you can say 好得閒. Or you can ask 你幾時得閒? When do you have time?
So the structure here is very simple. When you want to ask when somebody does something, you say the subject,
你
and then when,
幾時
and then the verb,
得閒?
or when do you have time.
你幾時得閒?
Can you give us some more examples here, Nicole?
Sure. 你幾時食飯?
When do you eat, or when will you eat?
你幾時食飯?
Because Cantonese don't conjugate verbs, you need the context to tell if the person's asking about now or the future.
Right. So, for instance, 佢幾時學廣東話?
When will they learn Cantonese? That's what Nicole usually says to me.
Better yet, you can put an adjective after 幾時.
Right, because adjectives act like verbs in Cantonese.
That's a good tip. For instance, 你幾時肚餓?
When will you be hungry?
你幾時肚餓? When will you be hungry? Or 媽媽幾時攰?
When will mom be tired?
Moms are never tired. 媽媽唔攰.
That's right, but our listeners are. And this is a pretty long lesson. We've learned how to say weekdays
Yeah, like 禮拜一, Monday.
and how to ask when.
幾時?
We've also learned the numbers 1 to 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5咯.
And a little bit slower.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I bet our listeners want to ask, 呢個 podcast 幾時完?
When does this podcast finish? Well, it finishes after we remind them to download the very helpful PDFs
Yep, located in the Premium Learning Center.
on CantoneseClass101.com. That just about does it for us today, so make sure you stop by CantoneseClass101.com and pick up those lesson notes.
It has the conversation transcript
Vocabulary, sample sentences, a grammar explanation.
and a cultural insight section.
Seeing the Cantonese.
Really helps you remember faster.
But don't take our word for it. Please have a look for yourself.
And let us know what you think.
I'm Matt.
I'm Nicole.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.
你幾時得閒啊？
下個禮拜啊，
禮拜六。
禮拜日。
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
大家好，我係 Nicole。
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cantonese Class 101.com. Matt here with Absolute Beginner Season 1, Lesson number 13.
That's right, welcome back. So what are we learning today, Matt?
In this lesson, you will learn how to ask for phone numbers. Now, I'm really excited about this lesson.
Me too. This conversation takes place in a bar.
The conversation is going to be between two strangers.
And they're speaking casual Cantonese.
All right, let's get right into the dialogue.
Hi，靚女，
咩事啊？
你電話幾多號啊？
我冇電話。
One more time, a bit slower.
Hi，靚女，
咩事？
你電話幾多號啊？
我冇電話。
One more time, a bit slower.
Hi，靚女，
Hi, gorgeous.
咩事？
What's the matter?
你電話幾多啊？
What's your phone number?
我冇電話。
I don't have a phone. All right, Nicole. Now, I got a question for you before we really get into this. After he says, hi, gorgeous, she responds, what's the matter? What's she meaning there?
It
Is
means-
something wrong with the guy, or is that just a normal way to respond to that question?
Well, that's not a normal way or a polite way. I guess she's just upset.
Oh, okay. So now why is our guy being turned down here? Well, he used the magic word before asking for the girl's phone number. He said gorgeous.
Ah, 靚女.
Yeah, but he still got turned down. What's the deal?
Maybe because he is not a 靚仔. It's his problem. Or maybe he's not 靚仔enough.
Oh, so our girl's out of his league and he's not handsome enough,
No.
even if he uses the magic word.
Well, he could have said more Cantonese to impress the 靚女.
So what kind of impressive Cantonese are we teaching today?
Numbers.
Oh, and that's going to help our not-so-good-looking guy out. He's really going to impress the girls with being able to count from 1 to 100.
I mean, if you want to make friends with a girl in Hong Kong, you have to learn how to play the game, the dice game. And
dice
if you
game?
Yeah, and if you want to play the dice game, you have to know how to count.
Okay, well, I'm hoping we're going to have another lesson on the dice game to tell our listeners how to play the dice game.
Oh, it's great fun.
Okay, so let's take a look at our vocabulary for today's lesson before we teach them how to play that.
And now, the vocab section.
打
To dial or to hit.
打打電話
Telephone.
電話電話手機
Cell phone.
手機手機號碼
Number.
號碼號碼屋企
Home.
屋企屋企幾多
Literally, how many?
幾多幾多七
7.
七七八
8.
八八九
9.
九九十
10.
十十零
0.
零零
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases that we just went over.
Okay, the first phrase is 電話
Telephone.
電話
Telephone.
手提電話
This is mobile phone or portable phone.
手提電話
Mobile phone. But I know you have a shorter word for that as well.
Right. 手機
Cell phone or literally hand machine.
手機
Cell phone.
But because almost everyone has a 手機 nowadays, when you say 電話, you'll be actually referring to their cell phone. So you can say 你嘅手機
How do you say your phone again?
你嘅手機 or 你嘅電話
What about my phone?
我嘅電話
What if somebody needs to say landline?
That would be 屋企電話
Or literally home phone,
Right. If we break it down, the first half is 屋企
which means home.
The second half is 電話
Phone
So 屋企電話
means landline.
So you can say 我有電話
I have a phone,
or the opposite 我冇電話
like we heard in the dialogue. I don't have a phone.
You can also say 你有手機
You have a cell phone?
我都有手機
I also have a cell phone. See how we stick the adverb
都
between the subject and the verb here?
Right. Another example of this 都 is 我哋都有手機
We all have cell phones, which is pretty likely in Hong Kong nowadays.
and everywhere.
Now, what if I lose my phone and I need to get one?
You can say 我要手機
I need or I want a cell phone.
Right. 我要手機 or 我要靚手機
I want a beautiful cell phone.
This beautiful 靚 is the same 靚 in 靚女 or 靚仔. It means good quality. So you can say 我要靚手機 I want a great cell phone.
Okay, so pretty easy so far. We're using some words that we learned before, but we haven't gotten to our keyword of the day yet, which is numbers.
Numbers. In Hong Kong, you will hear people say number.
Now that sounds kind of similar to the English word for number.
Yeah, number. That's our way of saying it. But in Guangdong or mainland China, you'll hear people say 號碼,
Which is the Cantonese word for number.
right? 號碼.
So my number would be,
我嘅號碼.
to say his number, you would say his number is,
佢嘅號碼.
her room number,
佢嘅房間號碼. Remember we learned this room before, 房間. So her room number is 佢嘅房間號碼.
Great, I think our listeners are ready for the numbers now. So let's start from 0.
零
0.
零
And we've already learned 1 to 6 in the last lesson.
Right. How about we have a quick review now? I'll be saying the Cantonese and your listeners can repeat and think about what number it is.
Then I'll give you the English translation.
Okay, ready? 六
6,
四
4,
二
2,
五
5,
一
1,
三
3.
That's all, 6 numbers. I hope our listeners got the numbers right.
But don't worry if you didn't. We've got some more coming.
Oh, that's comforting. Anyway, 唔使驚, you grasp them quickly.
All right, so let's start off with number 7.
Okay, now in this time, Matt will be saying the English and I'll say the Cantonese. We'll say each word for twice.
7,
七
7,
七
8,
八
8,
八
9,
九
9,
九
10,
十
10,
十
It's grammar time.
All right, very good. Now we're ready to start asking for girls' phone numbers.
Right, let's get to that.
Our focus today is asking for phone numbers, so in the dialogue we hear this.
你電話幾多啊?
What's your phone number?
你電話幾多啊?
Literally what we're saying here is, your phone, how many, with the Cantonese ah at the end.
That's right. So when we ask for numbers in Cantonese, we use the word 幾多,
Which is the word for how many.
幾多.
How many? We didn't say the word for number here.
No, because in casual Cantonese, we just say 你電話幾多. We can leave out the number or 號碼 in there. You don't need to say that.
So make sure you're paying attention to the word order here. We're leaving the how many
幾多?
behind at the end of the sentence. So it's your phone,
你電話
how many,
幾多?
which means what's your phone number?
你電話幾多?
What about what's our home phone number?
So we first say our home phone number and then we say how many. In Cantonese, it will be translated to 我哋屋企電話幾多?
How about what's his cell number?
佢手機電話幾多? Or shorter, 佢電話幾多?
How about I need your phone number?
我要你嘅電話. It literally means I want your phone. But with context, I guess they will know you're asking for the numbers, not the phone. 我要你嘅電話.
Sure, so to make it clear, we're going to add the word for number at the end of that sentence.
我要你嘅電話號碼. Or you can ask politely. Remember we learned the polite phrase, 可唔可以?
Yeah, that means can I?
That's right. So put it in there before asking for the phone number. It would be very polite. It becomes 我可唔可以要你嘅電話號碼?
Can I or can I not have your phone number?
Right. So if you call her or him 靚女 or 靚仔, you're bound to get the number.
Really? Okay. Well, let's hear what that would sound like then.
靚女，我可唔可以要你嘅電話啊?
Pretty girl, can I have your phone number? And when you answer, instead of saying, I don't have a phone,
我冇電話.
which is what I usually get, we're going to teach our listeners to actually say their telephone numbers.
That's very easy. You only need to read out the digits one by one.
Let's have some examples. Let's say 1914569.
1914569.
All right. Now, how about 3652888?
That's a very lucky number with all the A's. 3652888.
I remember you guys are crazy about the eights.
Well, because 8 sounds like fat, which means getting rich. So it's lucky.
All right. Good note for our listeners. Cantonese are pretty easy with numbers. When you say the years, it's going to be in the same manner. All you need to do is read the digits from left to right.
That's right. Like the year 2010
which is 2010,
or 2012.
2012.
That, you see? Pretty easy.
All right, so again, it's a long lesson, but we've learned how to ask for numbers and how to impress
靚女,
or pretty girls.
right, by counting from 0 to 10.
Now that just about does it for today. But remember, you can always leave us a comment on this lesson or other lessons.
So if you have a question or some feedback, please leave us a comment.
And it's very easy to do as well. Just make sure you stop by CantoneseClass101.com,
Click on comments.
enter your comment and name,
That's it.
so you've got no excuses. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
That's right. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Matt.
See you next time.
Bye.
Hi，靚女，
咩事啊？
你電話幾多號啊？
我冇電話。
Cantonese.
你好， 香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
大家好，我係 Nicole。
Hello, everybody. Matt here, and welcome back to CantoneseClass101.com. Absolute Beginner Season 1, Lesson 14. In this lesson, you will learn about things to do on a date.
This conversation takes place in a bar.
And it's between two friends.
So, they're speaking casual Cantonese as always.
All right, Nicole, let's take a listen to the dialogue today. It's pretty simple.
一齊睇戲啊！
咩戲啊？
2012
好啊！
One more time, a bit slower.
一齊睇戲啊！
咩戲？
2012
好啊！
And now, with the English translation.
一齊睇戲啊！
Let's go see a movie.
咩戲？
What movie?
2012
2012.
好啊！
Sounds good. Now, who would invite a girl to a disaster movie, Nicole?
Well, you have no idea how popular this movie is in China. 2012.
That's right, so that's how it became the movie to see on a date.
Well, maybe after a girl sees the movie, she'll realize how soon the world's gonna end and she better seize the day and enjoy the date without Lang Day.
Or it could come out the opposite. She might decide not to waste her time with that guy and find somebody better.
Oh, you're so pessimistic. Anyway, we have some great vocab today about dating.
That's right, the top 5 things you want to do on a date.
Right.
And now, the vocab section.
So let's dive right in, take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson, and get our listeners ready for their first date.
想
To want.
想睇戲
To watch a movie.
睇戲行街
Literally, to walk in the street or to go shopping.
行街食飯
To have a meal.
食飯飲茶
To drink tea or have Cantonese brunch.
飲茶飲嘢
To have a drink.
飲嘢買嘢
To go shopping.
買嘢兜風
To go for a joyride.
兜風
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of these words and phrases from this lesson.
Okay, the first phrase is 食飯
To have a meal.
食飯
Literally, to eat rice.
Right. 食飯 means eat rice, literally. But it means more than that because rice is a staple of Cantonese food. So 食飯 or eat rice becomes a general term for having meal.
Now that makes sense. Just like the word for drinking tea doesn't necessarily mean drinking tea.
Right. 飲茶
To drink tea or to have a Cantonese brunch in a Cantonese restaurant.
Right. 飲茶 is one of my favorite things to do. Not on a date though, but with my friends or family. You get delicious dim sum in the Cantonese restaurants.
Ah, yes. Now we all know you love eating, Nicole. So what's our number 4 word for the day?
睇戲
To watch a movie.
睇戲
To watch a movie, our first sound here is a very high frequency word.
睇
To see or to watch.
right? You can say 睇書
That's to read a book, not just to look at it.
right? Although it literally means to look at the book, but it means read. 睇書 or you can say 我鍾意睇書
Which is, I like reading.
For you, Matt, 你鍾意睇靚女
Which is, I like seeing pretty girls. But then again, who doesn't?
Well, for women, they like to 睇靚仔
To watch or to look at handsome guys.
Or when you're bored, you wanna 睇電視
Watch TV.
Right, 睇電視 Or maybe that's why you're bored.
That's why you're going to want to do our number 3 word for the day.
Right, 行街
To walk on the street, but it actually implies shopping.
Right, or maybe window shopping at least. 行街
Shopping. There's another word also specifically for shopping.
買嘢
Shopping. Now, how formal is this word, Nicole?
Casual, they're both casual. You can say 一齊買嘢
Let's go shopping.
or 不如一齊行街
Ah, that's the suggestion. The polite turn down and then the suggestion, but you. How about let's go shopping?
Women love shopping.
But I can't imagine a guy asking a girl to go out shopping for a date.
Oh, me neither. But in Cantonese, we say 行街睇戲食飯 in a row.
Shopping, watching movies, and eating.
Right. 行街睇戲食飯 Well, it means general or routine things to do on a date.
So if you want to say they're out on a date, you can say,
佢哋行街睇戲食飯
all right, so shopping, movie watching, and eating. These are the common things to do on the date. What's our number 2?
Well, it's a more exciting thing to do. 飲嘢
To have a drink.
飲嘢
To have a drink. What about let's have a drink?
一齊飲嘢啊
Do you have time for a drink?
得唔得閒飲嘢啊
So it's have or not have time for a drink.
That's right. 得唔得閒飲嘢啊 It's a Cantonese way of forming a simple question. 得唔得閒飲嘢 Or you can say 得唔得閒食嘢
Do you have time for a meal?
Right. Or 得唔得閒行街
Ah, do you have time for shopping?
Of course, always. Or you can say 得唔得閒睇戲
Do you have time for a movie?
Right. Now, our top phrase of today.
Drum roll sound. Brrrr,
Excellent drum roll. 兜風
which means to have a joyride.
兜風
To have a joyride, or literally, to move around with the wind.
Yeah, or to play with the wind. 兜風 Both of these two sounds are the first high tone, high flat tone. 兜風 And you can always suggest 誒靚女一齊兜風啊
Hey, pretty woman, let's have a joyride together.
Yeah. Or you can say 幾時兜風啊
When do you want to have a joyride?
Or longer sentence 幾時得閒一齊兜風啊
When you have time, let's have a joyride.
The girl probably would say 我鍾意兜風
I like going for joyrides.
Yep. And you can say 佢要兜風
She or he wants a joyride.
That's right. If you ask somebody out for a 兜風 I think he or she probably is gonna say yes 好啊 Because 兜風 is very laid back.
All right, that's a great tip, Nicole. So let's have a quick review for our listeners. Today we've learned the top 5 things that you need to do on a date.
食飯
To have a meal.
行街
To go shopping.
睇戲
To watch a movie.
飲嘢
To have a drink.
兜風
And to go for a joyride.
It's grammar time.
Now let's move on to our grammar section. We'll teach you how to ask someone out.
好啊
Now the main focus of this lesson is asking, do you want?
we've learned a word for to want in earlier lessons, which is 要.
That's right. That's the word for want.
要.
We've also learned how to form a simple question using negation.
So you can say 要唔要?
Want or not want?
你要唔要?
Do you want?
佢要唔要?
Does he or she want? Today we're going to teach you the new word. Does he or she want? Today we're going to teach you a new word for want.
想.
To want or to think.
想. Pay attention to the tone here. It's a high rising tone. 想.
To want, to think.
Yep, and you can replace the 要 with 想.
So instead of saying,
要唔要?
you can say,
想唔想?
what about to want or not to want?
想唔想? Or 你想唔想?
Do you want?
You can ask 你想唔想食飯?
Which is, do you want to have a meal?
你想唔想一齊食飯?
Do you want to have a meal together?
Right. And 靚女, 你想唔想一齊食飯?
Hey, pretty girl, do you want to have a meal together?
Right.
Now this is a complete invitation.
Yep, it is. Remember to stick 一齊 between do you want 想唔想 and the verb 食飯. So it's 你想唔想一齊食飯?
Now that's really important to do because if you leave out the together part, she might say yes, she's going to have a meal, but it would be without you.
So sad.
So it's, do you want together eat?
Yep, that's the word order. 想唔想一齊食飯? Or you can replace 想 with 要唔要一齊食飯? 要唔要一齊兜風?
Do you want to have a joyride? But there's a slight difference between these two wants.
Right. 要 is slightly stronger with the stress on to need, or it's more like a request. For example, 我要水,
I need water.
as in 好口渴啊, 我要水.
I'm really thirsty. I need water.
Or 好肚餓啊, 我要食飯.
I'm starving. I need to eat.
Or 我要買嘢.
I need to shop. But of course, that's for no reason.
There's no need for a reason to 買嘢.
Okay, but what about the other word, Nicole?
Oh, 想. 想 is softer, with an implication that you are thinking about doing it. You want to do it.
It can also be followed by a verb.
That's right. Like, 我想飲嘢.
I want to have a drink.
佢想兜風.
She or he wants to go for a joyride.
Yep, so when you're inviting someone, you want to use the softer 想 to be nice and polite.
Like in English, we say, would you like instead of do you want? But among friends, they're pretty much interchangeable.
Exactly. 你想唔想睇戲?
Would you like to go see a movie?
好啊.
Sure.
你要唔要一齊飲茶?
Do you want to drink tea together, or do you want to have Cantonese brunch together?
下次啊.
So here Nicole's answer is, maybe next time. Why? I thought Cantonese people love drinking tea.
Not on a date. 唔想飲茶.
Okay, I didn't know I was asking you on a date. But girls don't want to drink tea on a date. That's noted. We still have plenty of other things that we can do on a date. We've learned the top 5 dating vocabulary and how to invite people out.
That's right. Now, Matt, 你想唔想一齊食飯啊?
Hoa. But before we go, we want to tell you about a way to improve your pronunciation drastically.
The voice recording tool.
Yes, the voice recording tool in the Premium Learning Center.
Record your voice with a click of a button.
And then play it back just as easily.
So you record your voice and then listen to it.
Compare it to the native speakers.
And adjust your pronunciation.
This will help you improve your pronunciation fast.
That's right. So that's our lesson today. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Matt. Make sure to tune in next time.
See you.
一齊睇戲啊！
咩戲啊？
2012
好啊！
Cantonese.
你好，香港、澳門、大陸。
Cantonese Class 101.
大家好，我係 Nicole。
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt, and welcome back to CantoneseClass101.com. This is the Absolute Beginner Season 1, Lesson number 15.
Okay, Matt, what are we learning today?
Today, we're going to learn ways to say that you're busy.
This conversation takes place anywhere.
This conversation is between a pretty girl and a random guy.
They're speaking casual Cantonese as usual.
All right, Nicole, let's move on to the dialogue.
Hi，靚女，
咩事
得唔得閒飲杯嘢？
？Sorry，我趕時間。
One more time, a bit slower.
Hi，靚女，
咩事
得唔得閒飲杯嘢？
？Sorry，我趕時間。
And now, with the English translation.
Hi，靚女，
Hey, pretty girl.
咩事？
What's the matter?
得唔得閒飲杯嘢？
Do you have time? Fancy a drink?
Sorry，我趕時間。
Sorry, I'm in a rush. So we got the oldest excuse, the I'm busy excuse.
啊，我趕時間。
It's old, but it's still useful.
You need it, and we've got a couple more in our vocab section.
And these words that we're seeing in the excuses, you can use right away. Let's move on to the vocabulary for this lesson. What's our first one, Nicole?
And now, the vocab section.
得閒，
To have time or to be available.
得閒，得閒，趕時間，
To be in a rush.
趕時間，趕時間，食餐飯，
To have a meal.
食餐飯，食餐飯，飲杯嘢，
To have a drink.
飲杯嘢，飲杯嘢，睇部戲，
To watch a movie.
睇部戲，睇部戲，忙，
Busy.
忙，忙，有時間，
To have time.
有時間，有時間，冇時間，
To not have time.
冇時間，冇時間。
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of these words and phrases that we just went over.
Okay, the first phrase is 忙，
This is busy.
忙，
Busy. And seen as it's an adjective, remember Nicole said in earlier lessons that when you want to put the adjective after a subject, that you'll need to stick ho in between.
That's right. Like 好忙. It's literally very, very busy, but you're just saying that you're busy. 好忙.
Like I'm busy.
我好忙.
Or we are busy.
我哋好忙.
Sorry, he's busy.
唔好意思，佢好忙。
Sorry, they're busy.
唔好意思，佢哋好忙。
Now, I remember in earlier lessons that we learned the opposite of busy.
Right. 得閒.
to be free, to be available, or to have time.
得閒
So another way to say you're busy is to say that you're not free,
唔得閒
not available. Just stick the negation in front.
That's right. 唔得閒 And if you're really, really busy, you can say 好唔得閒
Really not available.
唔好意思，我好唔得閒
Sorry, I'm very busy, or I don't have time at all.
Right. You can also say 我冇時間
Literally, I don't have time.
If you break that down, it would be 我
I
冇
not have
時間
time. I not have time.
我冇時間
I don't have time.
From this phrase, we can easily make another sentence 我有時間
Which is, I have time.
Right, the opposite 我
I
有
have
時間
time.
我有時間
I have time.
In the dialogue we heard 我趕時間
I'm in a rush.
我趕時間
Or literally, I'm hurrying the time.
我趕時間 And it means you have things to do or you have an errand to run.
Now, can we add ho to strengthen the degree of busyness?
Sure. 我好趕時間
Which is, I'm really in a rush.
Or if you want to specify why you're busy, you can say 我有事
Which is, I have things to do. To have,
有
then things.
事
I have things.
我有事
Now, that doesn't sound very specific, Nicole.
Well, it's comparatively concrete at least. 唔好意思，我有事
So, what you're telling them is, sorry, I have things to do.
That's right. 唔好意思，我有事，我趕時間，我好忙
Wow. Sorry, I have stuff to do. I'm in a rush. I'm busy.
Right, stick in the field and they know you aren't in the mood for talk.
All right, sweet. So today we've learned 5 ways to say you're busy.
好忙
Very busy.
唔得閒
Not available.
冇時間
To not have time.
趕時間
To be in a rush.
有事
To have stuff or things to do.
Yep, I think it should be enough for excuses.
Also, you can mix and match any of these 6.
Or you could use them all together. That should scare people off.
It's grammar time.
Now let's move on to our grammar section. We'll teach Cantonese measure words today.
好, remember in Cantonese we need different measure words for different objects. That's why we're teaching them.
We've been trying to avoid these measure words for a little while now.
Come on, it's not that hard.
True, but it is a process of accumulating vocabulary.
And the measure words that we're teaching today are really simple and useful.
You'll hear them quite often, and you'll be able to grasp them in no time.
That's right. Before we go on to learn new ones, let's have a quick review of the old ones.
All right, let's take a look at when we order a beer.
Right. 一支啤酒, we use 支.
The measure word for bottle.
Right. 一支啤酒,
A bottle of beer.
一支水.
A bottle of water.
And we have another very, very common measure word. 個.
Ah, the most common measure word.
一個 pizza.
That's the measure word for a pizza,
兩個靚女.
which is 2 pretty girls. No matter how big the number is, the measure word stays the same.
That's right. Just change the number to indicate a quantity, like 三個, 四個, 五個.
So that was 3 of something, 4 of something, and 5 of something. All right,
Sure.
pretty easy so far.
Mhm.
Today we're learning something just as easy.
Right. The first measure word, 餐,
Is the measure word for meal.
餐.
Measure word for meal.
We can say 一餐飯,
1 meal.
兩餐飯,
2 meals.
幾餐飯,
A few meals. If we break that down, the first sound is
幾.
a few.
It's the same 幾 in 幾好,
Pretty good.
or the same 幾 in 幾時.
When?
We can say 幾餐飯,
A few meals. Or it can also be asking how many meals.
Yeah, depending on the context. You can say 食幾餐飯
To have a few meals.
or 食餐飯.
To have a meal. But note here, we didn't say the number 1.
That's right. In Cantonese, we usually leave out the number 1, 一, when there's a verb in front of it. So instead of saying 食一餐飯, we say 食餐飯.
Which still means to have dinner.
一齊食餐飯.
Let's have a meal together.
Yes, and we can also use the measure word 個 for 飯, which means rice. But when you do, it'll mean a bowl of rice. Because this 個 is a measure word for ordering portion, not for a whole meal.
All right. Our next measure word is going to be very useful as well when we go to the bar.
杯
This is the measure word for cups and glasses.
杯
So a glass of water,
一杯水
2 glasses of juice,
兩杯果汁
this glass of beer,
呢杯啤酒
that glass of water,
嗰杯水
or we can stick the measure word between the verb, or we can stick the measure word between a verb phrase.
Yeah, like we did in 食餐飯.
That's right.
So it would be 飲杯嘢.
To have a drink.
Right, because 嘢 is anything, it means anything. So if you want to say 飲杯水,
To have a glass of water.
you can also say 飲杯啤酒.
To have a glass of beer. We usually have beer in a bottle, though.
Okay. Then 飲支啤酒.
To have a bottle of beer.
Right. Now, one last very common measure word is 部.
That's right. This is the measure word for bikes, cars, computers, cell phones, or even movies.
部
Like a car,
一部車
2 bikes,
兩部單車
this cell phone,
呢部手機
a few movies.
幾部戲
We've learned the phrase to watch movies,
睇戲
so we can also stick the measure word in between.
Right. 睇部戲 or you can say 一齊睇部戲
Which is, let's see a movie.
or 我想睇部戲
This is, I want to see a movie.
我想睇呢部戲
I want to see this movie.
Yep, this is very useful. If you put a measure word between a subject and an object, it indicates possession. Like 我部車 means my car.
That's right. We'll get into that, though, in more advanced lessons. So today we've learned ways to say you're busy,
好忙
and we've learned 3 common measure words.
餐 for meals, 杯 for glasses, 部 for cars and movies.
Now we hope all our listeners will be 好忙 while they're studying all these new measure words that we've given them. That just about does it for today. But Nicole, before we go, I'd like to share a tip that one of our listeners shared with us.
You're talking about a student who uses just the conversation tracks to review the lessons.
You read my mind, Nicole. That's right, a listener of ours listens to each of the lessons several times.
Then afterwards, gets the conversation-only track from our site.
She then listens to them on shuffle over and over again. In this way, she's created her own immersion program using CantoneseClass101.com.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Please, please, please give it a try and let us know what you think.
All right, that's that. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Hi，靚女，
咩事
得唔得閒飲杯嘢？
？Sorry，我趕時間。